everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things. As you can see, I have a gorgeous little book here. This is the Book of North American Birds. It's Reader's Digest version. It was published in 1990. I picked this up at our church's library downsizing event. I'll call it that. So they had 2 Sundays where you could come in and pick out books and make a donation if you chose to, and just kind of take whatever you want, because they are just reducing to having reference books available, and all these other things were going to be donated to somebody else. So they were basically offering it to church members first. So I was so happy to find this in the section of the library that sort of had what would you call this, like nature books and things on cooking or decorating, kind of household type resources. I thought this was just so cool. There's so many birds that I don't know. I didn't really grow up being taught to appreciate nature. It's not that my parents didn't care, but they just had different interests. So I didn't grow up really knowing too much, but now I am a lot more interested in it. So having this book, I think, will help me identify some of the birds that come to our feeder, or ones that I see. I love the format of this book. I like how it's shaped. It's like a giant traveler's notebook. It reminds me of the standard narrow size where it's tall and thin. It is a good chunky size book, but I like the kind of shape of it. So this is like North American, so I know there will be more birds than are in Missouri, but I don't know, I just think it's a really beautiful book. These are the kind of birds I can never identify, the little brown birds that come to the feeder. I don't know if they're sparrows or wrens or what. So maybe this will help increase my knowledge. I do know cardinals, but you know, my mother-in-law was so good about knowing things like this, and I just was slow to pick it up. So it's just a gorgeous book. I think I'll keep it for a while. If it ends up that I really don't reference it, I have some grandkids that are being homeschooled, and I think their mom would probably like having this book around for them. So either way, I think it's a delightful book, and it's in great condition. So super excited about that. And then I went back, after I found that one, I went back after the sermon, and I looked in that same area for more kinds of books like this, and I found this North American wildlife book. So a little bit beyond birds. Again, it's a Reader's Digest book, and kind of trying to see the publication. This was 82, so quite a bit earlier, about 8 years earlier, I guess, than the other. And to be honest, part of my motivation was, if I don't use it, I cringe to say this, I may use some pictures from it for my journaling. Now, I know that sounds awful. I mean, as I look at this, I do not want to rip up this book, but that was kind of my original thought, was if I don't end up using this as a reference, it could be a great ephemera resource. Here's some more on birds. I noticed the frogs. I also like frogs. I love hearing the frogs at night that come up. We hear them from our creek that's a little bit behind our house. Anyway, I thought this was also lovely. Such pretty illustrations, and you know, they're detailed enough where I think you could really use it as a source of identification. And then they had these amazing Bibles. Okay, there were Bibles there, those big, huge Bibles that you would see on a pulpit in a traditional, like, fancy church. They were like 1840s and 1850s, but they weren't in great condition. Some of the covers on one or two of them were not even attached. Some of the papers were speckled with, who knows, you know, just age, kind of like yellowing, but they were really neat. But I am not trying to accumulate too many things like that. We are trying to get rid of stuff as my kids grow up and leave home. So to bring those into the house, I felt as much of a unique and wonderful thing that would be, I didn't feel like it was probably the wisest choice. But I did pick this one up for my oldest son. He just likes things that have a story or that are detailed or have a lot of workmanship to them. So I think he would have appreciated the Bibles that were like 100 and what, 50 years. Anyway, old Bibles. But I think he might have felt the same. If they're kind of falling apart and the pages are so brittle and the covers disintegrating, it just may end up being more of a nuisance. So I got this one for him. This is the Holy Bible, Authorized King James Version, and it's the Michelangelo edition. So who knew that there was that? This is kind of your traditional looking Bible, but it's in fantastic shape. This Michelangelo art. So I hope that he likes this version that I picked up for him. This is a very beautiful Bible, and it was fun to come across that. That's all for now. I just thought that would be a fun little show and tell. Hope you're having a great day. Happy August 1st, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.